Good morning, film history. This is Wednesday, April 8th, and today you're going to start recording audio for your documentary. Though I do not want you to record the entire documentary narration. I want you to only record the first 30 seconds of it, okay? Now, I told you that I was going to have you guys record the entire audio, but I kind of fibbed. What I prefer is that you record the first 30 seconds and that you then make that 30 seconds available for everyone to critique on how the narration would be delivered. What I'm concerned about is that the narration will be a little, I don't know, not to be insulting by any means, but stale. It's easy just to read, and then it doesn't matter what the content is if the audience feels like you're not passionate or enthusiastic or delivering a tone that is appropriate for the content. It doesn't matter what the content is, whether how interested someone is, they're just not going to watch it. So then what's the point, right? So I think we need to work on how we're actually going to deliver that narration. I think it is important to note that you don't have to deliver the narration yourself. If you prefer to have a parent or a sibling or whomever do it for you, I don't care whatsoever, okay? So first thing, we're going to deliver the narration via Flipgrid, and so I provided directions here for you, okay? So let's go through that really quickly. You can there's three ways to do it. You can do it on your phone, which I'd really prefer you do on your phone for this case. And then that's the code right there that you're going to need to put in for our film history class, okay? You can also download it on your computer by going just to that URL right there. And that will take you right to our class to create a Flipgrid. And if you don't know what Flipgrid is, I'm going to explain it in just a second. Or you can just click right here on this tab. You'll notice that on our post, there's going to be this thing saying, Mr. Panetta just added a Flipgrid thing. But right here is going to be our Flipgrid link for our class, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click on that just to bring you there. Once you click on that, or you do this via your phone, or you do it via a computer URL, you must sign in with your Microsoft login, your R2D2. If you sign in with Google, it won't link you to our class because I made it to only PCSB domain names can actually log in. So I'm going to log in with Microsoft. Once I open up, I know, right? It's good. Once you come here, you're going to see our project, first 30 seconds of the documentary. And then down here, you can click on this to create a new video. And what that's going to do is going to use your camera phone or your computer camera to record yourself talking. Now, I don't want you to record your face. I would like you to record an image of something that is associated with your documentary, which I'm going to show you what. I'm going to do an example here in a second. And then you're just showing that. So if you are using a phone, this is why I prefer to use a phone, just point your camera on your phone toward like your computer, pull up a picture on your computer, and then deliver your narration while just pointing the camera at the computer. So we see a photo, okay? I don't want you to edit anything, don't do any of that stuff. Again, this is just for how you're going to deliver narration. Then, once you're done creating your video, I'd like you to respond to at least 3 other people's in the class's videos, okay? I'd like you to listen to it. I maxed out your video length at 30 seconds, so you can't make it any more than 30 seconds. And then give them feedback on whether their narration is good. Would you listen to that documentary? I mean, would you watch that documentary based upon the narration? Do they sound interested? Does it sound engaging? If not, give feedback. Don't be insulting. I can't emphasize that enough. Don't be insulting. But, give honest feedback. You may say, hey, you kind of, it seemed like you were reading, and I don't know if I'd actually be interested in watching a documentary where the person I felt like they were reading the entire time. Or you may say, hey, you're being a little overly enthusiastic. It's a little bit maybe, on the verge of obnoxious. Maybe don't use the word obnoxious. Again, we're not going to be insulting. But be honest, I think it was a little, it was a little much, in terms of how the level of your voice or how fast you were talking, or I thought you were talking too slow. Try to give really good feedback like that, okay? All right, so back to where we were at. So you're going to do 30 seconds of Flipgrid, then you're going to respond to 3 other videos, and that's it, okay? So if this were me and I were doing this assignment, and again, all the instructions are right here, please read through the instructions here on everything that you're expected to do today, because we're going to have a grade for that. So if it were me and this was mine, here's my script. The first about 30 seconds of my script. My script's about the Great Depression and our current COVID-19 pandemic, and how, and my topic is really about how the Depression brought us together as a community, right? And a lot of people went to the movies because that was their escape from the reality. And then right now we have that juxtaposition of, well, we can't do that, like we have this depression we have now, but we're being separated. And then, how theaters were a tool then to bring the community together, and then now they're not. And I think that there's just a really interesting contrast between those two things. So I'm starting off with one of my favorite script lines here. So this is how I don't think you should deliver a narration, right? Ready? Here we go. Oh, and then here, I'm going to pull up, I'd probably pull up maybe one of these images. So I'd have this on my screen, or one of these images of a lot of people at a theater, right? So, throughout most of the Depression, Americans went assiduously, devotedly, almost compulsively to the movies. The movies offered a change to escape the cold, the heat, and the loneliness. They brought strangers together, rubbing elbows in the dark of movie palaces and flea pits, sharing in the one social event available to everyone. These words were spoken by Carlos A. Stevens, a reporter working through much of the 30s and 40s. What he witnessed was the true power of new media, a power that resonated in the spirit of community. Do you see how monotonous and monotone and almost rushed that all felt? It's not. Would you watch that documentary? Because I certainly wouldn't, even though I'd be incredibly interested in it. I'd have probably stopped it after the first maybe sentence or two, just because I couldn't stand to listen to someone talk like that. They don't seem passionate about the project. They sound like they're doing a class project, which is what we don't want. So how I would deliver it, ready? Throughout much of the Depression, Americas went, oh, I said Americas. Right, I'm going to do it again. So you can just redo it right here. Oh, here we go. Throughout most of the Depression, Americans went assiduously, devotedly, almost compulsively to the movies. The movies offered a change to escape the cold and the heat and the loneliness. They brought strangers together, rubbing elbows in the dark of movie palaces and flea pits, sharing in the one social event available to everyone. These words were spoken by Carlos A. Stevens, a reporter working throughout much of the 30s and 40s. What he witnessed was the true power of a new medium, a power that resonated in the spirit of community. Those pauses and those emphasis of those key words are important. You start to inject your passion of the topic in there, right? So practice. That's what we want to do today. Practice on the first lines. If you can't hook them in the first 30 seconds, you're not going to hook them at all. Okay? So that's what I want you to do today. If you have any questions, and please don't make it about why my disk is almost full, please reach out. Make sure to post on the board that you're here today, and fill out the review and the reflect form. Okay? Let me know if you have any questions. Have a good day.